Welcome back to this explainer for the For the Wise podcast. If you're into these late night deep dives, go ahead and hit that like button, leave a comment, share this around, and subscribe. Tonight, we're jumping straight into a profoundly freeing concept: the courage of your minimal energy state. Phew, let me ask you something honestly. Are you just totally exhausted from constantly performing? In our modern world, we're pretty much always trying to be on. We curate our highlight reels, we craft these shiny personas, and we lead with our absolute best, highest energy selves just to be noticed. But maintaining that act, man, it is completely draining. What if we just kind of dropped it? So there's this idea known as your ordinary minimal energy state. I know, it sounds a bit clinical, but it's actually a deeply human concept. It's basically your baseline self that exists when the spotlight is completely off, the version of you that isn't trying to impress anyone at all. And just to be super clear here, this isn't about being lazy or depressed or intentionally holding back your best qualities. It's simply being your natural, totally unvarnished self. I mean, you can actually see Hakeem the Owl nodding off over there in his chunky knit scarf. That cozy, sleepy posture, that is the exact minimal energy state we're talking about here. It's the you that just enjoys a quiet morning with a cup of coffee. The you that gets a little grumpy when you're tired. The you that finds deep comfort in silence and actually enjoys totally mundane, unglamorous routines. Honestly, Hakeem has definitely got the right idea right now. This brings us to a really beautiful, everyday metaphor from our source text, the cake versus the icing. It completely shifts how we think about connection, vulnerability, and intimacy. So think of your minimal energy state as the cake. It's the structural, sustainable, fundamental substance of who you are, your baseline presence, and your company and silence. The icing, on the other hand, well, that represents your genuine achievements, your sharp intellect, your quick humor. The icing is sweet, it's sparkly, it's super impressive, but it's not the substance. When someone is first attracted to the cake, the icing is a bonus. Let that sink in for a second. If someone loves your day-to-day baseline self, there's absolutely zero pressure to be on. You can share your intellect and your humor as spontaneous, wonderful surprises instead of these mandatory entry fees just to keep their attention. You just don't have to perform to earn your keep. But what happens when we do the exact opposite? Let's get into section 1, the trap of performing. Because society heavily pressures us to perform, we kind of set a trap for ourselves. Step 1. When you lead with your achievements, the relationship just turns into an exhausting stage. Then, step 2, you start attracting the wrong people, fans of your status or your wit, rather than true partners. And inevitably, step 3, this leads to a fragile connection. You're basically building a shaky house on sand, right? The moment your performance wavers even a little bit, the connection threatens to collapse. Because, let's be real here, they didn't sign up for a plain cake. They signed up for a mountain of icing. So when you inevitably have an off day, which we literally all do, and you just need to exist in your minimal energy state, the people who only fell in love with your icing are going to feel pretty confused. They might even feel disappointed or deceived because, well, they fell for the performance, not the performer. So, how do we fix this whole thing? That brings us to section 2, building a true sanctuary. When you finally have the courage to just be yourself, you experience the absolute freedom of authentic connection. You're seen for who you truly are. Home base actually becomes a place of rest. The icing becomes a spontaneous gift, and that sustainability creates real longevity. Imagine a glowing crimson thread running right through the space here. That thread is the raw, pulsing lifeline of our true selves. It's really the only thing that safely binds a lasting relationship together, without it snapping under the immense pressure of putting on a performance. In this state, the relationship becomes a true sanctuary. You can be tired, sad, or simply quiet without fear of letting the other person down. It's so comforting, honestly. When home base is a place of rest and not some theater where you constantly have to put on a show, you build true structural integrity. A relationship built on that foundation, it can weather absolutely any storm life throws at you. And that brings us to our ultimate late-night epiphany for this explainer, the profound difference between admiration and love. Admiration is loving the impressive, standout icing. It's great, for sure, but it's super surface level. True love is loving the natural, minimal cake. It's the profound, incredibly liberating difference between just having fans of your flashy qualities and being deeply, truly loved for your baseline self. So, I want to leave you with this to reflect on in your own relationships. Are you letting yourself be loved for the cake, or are you burying it under a mountain of icing? Take some time to really think about that tonight. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. If you enjoyed this late night chat, please like, comment, share, and subscribe to the For the Wise podcast for more deep dives. Stay wise, give your inner Hakam a break, and we'll see you in the next one.